Okay, sorry for being late. I see double, or there are two nons.
Yeah, just me. I left and then rejoined. I think it's still
Yeah,
stuck. Sorry
that
about that.
happened. No problem. Okay. Oh, and we have Marcus. Okay, I think we can start. This should be good. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
created the new entries for you.
great, thanks. I think we can start. So let me do the thing. Hello and welcome to etcd robustness test meeting. Today is April 8th, and we have a agenda by month, so we can look into discussing it. And there's, I think, some topics by me, but yeah. Let's start with the first topic by Nant. Do you
Yeah.
want to take it over?
Yep. So this is the finding that I got from fixing the build failure of antithesis server Docker image. And what I found is the seems like the instrumenter didn't take into account the tooling properly. I think it's been a while. I think a month ago. But so I think in etcd we have a I think it's like go-to directives, um, and we use that to build most of the um, binaries. But what happened was that when we used the antithesis instrumentator, the antithesis instrumentator recreated uh, the um, the directives from scratch, and that basically broke the tooling of etcd, making it unable to build. So that's why I raised that issue in the antithesis SDK code. So Marcus, if you could have a look, we would
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I think there might be someone who's supposed to look at all the issues on the GitHub instrumentation languages that we support. So I was pinging our internal questions channel to see who that is, and then I'll go after them.
Yep.
Um,
The details is in the link that I
okay.
put from the channel. I mean, in the issue,
Mhm.
it links to the to the original issue that we had in the etcd project.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's super helpful information. And yeah, I'm gonna track down that guy and talk to him, see what they have to say, and try to get the issue fixed. So
Oh, GitHub.
Hey, thanks.
Easier would be just to find who did the most recent commits.
yeah.
But the GitHub, as always, is doing some ML stuff. So we'll know. Okay. I don't know. Not try to if you want to accelerate resolution of issue, would be good to also maybe find based on the contributors. I assume if this page ever loads, I think one of the people here, maybe not VP, but yeah, one of the top contributors should be, or recent contributors should be at least aware of the code and know what is happening there to fix it.
Yep.
Maybe question on the etcd side. Was the breakage unexpected because the instrumenter was updated?
So what happened was we had a Go tooling update, which introduced the Go toolchain directive.
Mhm.
That basically broke it. So I on the etcd side, I put a workaround fix for it.
The trigger was on etcd side, not on antithesis side.
Right. So we added new tooling directive on,
Sure.
like, the
I'm,
work
I'm
version. Yeah.
okay. I'm just asking whether it would be useful to hard code the tags, but looks like we have code the tags. The only thing would be
Oh,
maybe good to hard code also hash. I
I
mean,
I
just
tried newer version. It didn't fix it.
mhm, yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Just checking in to make sure that our release is not broken by how there we go get this version and then we install different version. This is interesting.
okay, because I think the SDK is different from the instrumenter.
Okay, maybe.
So
Okay,
the
yes.
instrumenter,
Maybe they're
yeah.
not aligned with the version. Okay. Yeah, just checking in to make sure that even we are not blocked on or our release and testing is not depending on the maintainers of the repo on fixing it. But looks like we already hard code. We already bind to some concrete version. So it was just the trigger was on etcd side, not on antithesis side.
Right. Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for raising it. Just making sure that everyone is aware of the thing. So finding the contributor. Maybe I will leave it in the background.
Yeah.
And
Another question. This is kind of related. Is we are pinning the version in our Docker file. I see that there are newer versions of the SDK and instrumentator. So what's the good time to update it, or should we use the latest version, or I
I
guess.
think the answer, everything else in etcd, all the dependencies are updated once a week. So the only reason that we don't update in Dockerfile is that we don't depend on it in our tooling. So there are two problems. One, you can update. I think it's good if you can update and it passes tests and everything works. So that should be okay. And second thing, whether we could do something like make the versions from Docker files external enough that would be picked up by the Dependa bot, so that would be upgraded automatically by the weekly dependency update rotation.
Right.
Makes sense that those are two things, and we could technically historically did it or how to do it. We for all other projects we have a tool, all tools. There is a mod, and we historically put all the tools here, like by fake requires, like this. Maybe now with I don't know the current state, if it's good enough, the current state of the tool directive. I think we don't use the tool directive. So there is also a new tool directive in Go, but I don't think we use it because there was some problems for it. So we could technically add a new dependency, move the dependency or move the source of truth for binding the version from Docker file to this file to here. So this is just a fake module that has a tools that does fake imports. to prevent Golang tooling from removing those dependencies in GoMod, and we are using GoMod to bind those dependencies in a way that is detectable by the dependabot.
I see.
So if we move if we added antithesis here, this will not leak into other places. Let's say it will not leak into dependencies of other things. I don't know if it's SDK, maybe it will cause some compilation errors, so we would need to test. But I would try to add it here. The compilation errors, I think the SDK depends on CGO, so I don't know if that will impact if we can compile. But I would try to do, for binding and auto upgrades, I would try to add it here.
Right. But also the question for Marcus is how often do you guys release new version, and how up to date we should be keeping ourselves with the release?
Yeah. I think it should be okay to stay on some sort of SHA or branch that works for the instrumenter and SDK. It definitely isn't required for antithesis to always be on the latest release of the instrumenter or the SDK. So it should be okay for now if we want to hard code being on the ones that work while we fix the issue that you had opened on our GitHub.
Okay. I think we can.
I mean, I just tried to remove the toil or like move the toil into people that are dedicated to it. So like dependency management. So I don't like if we can. It's not critical, but to have a complete solution and for us to totally forget about dependencies, it would be great to have this. The only downside is I don't think we have a per PR or merge blocking test for antithesis. So if there was a dependency upgrade that would break us, that would be merged and we would not detect it. So that's the problem here.
I guess we can, like, while we are waiting for the antithesis team to work on the fix, we can look at adding a new GitHub action to trigger changes to the antithesis folder and see if anything breaks or not.
So, or no, if it's just building the, okay, sorry, let me go back. I was wrong. If we just are talking about SDK and instrumentator, those are used during image building, and those are already covered by CI. So as long as we can build an instrument etcd using SDK, this is tested, and as long as this is guaranteed to work on antithesis, this is covered by testing. So I was wrong. This is automatically tested, so we should be good.
Okay. Thanks.
So if you go into actions, there is a mouse trigger. No, not this one. There is a lot of antithesis. Antithesis is verified because we are good with naming. This is a PR based test that builds, basically we build antithesis image and we run Docker compose to make sure that it compiles and is executable. So we are good with testing. So we could automate it. Or automate it. I don't mean automated. Is still just making it, exposing the dependencies outside of Dockerfile, because Dockerfile was just a quick term hack or short-term hack.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Second topic. No, do you want to?
We already covered that.
So this is okay. I will just move things here. Okay. Are there any other I have a topic, but are there any other topics in the meantime?
Nope. Thank you.
Okay. I don't think none you're surprised about the topic. I wanted to continue pushing the problem with Kubernetes. So on weekend, I vibe coded the migration, and it worked until we until antithesis did something, and it broke. So I know if Marcus you had chance to look at, but
Yeah.
we had the
So
successful run. We had just summarize for non for context. We had the successful run on basic Kubernetes test that we did last week, which was just a base. I know using a Kubernetes execution path or like the thing. I don't know, composer, but or endpoints, but without the same fail points. So just this today today I started running with the Marcus recommended me and separate endpoint that adds the fail point that we want to do, so we don't regress our ability to detect things like failures with container pausing, so we don't we
yeah,
move forward instead of regressing in other dimension. But apparently I know my guess and hope it's there was a regression in Kubernetes, other Kubernetes part.
yeah. So I can speak on this a little because I had a chance to look into it slightly in the morning, but I'm gonna look into it more later in the afternoon. But basically, when I first looked at the basic K8's test run, so that first one that Mark had linked, I'm not sure if that was actually a Kubernetes run. Because if you open it up and scroll to the bottom,
It needs to.
yeah,
It's
you
not
see how there's a
possible.
Docker compose down there? I think we were not pinging the Kubernetes endpoint because it wouldn't have this Docker compose section down there.
What?
So this is what I was super confused on. I didn't understand how this test had a Docker compose. When I was looking at it this morning.
Yeah.
So my guess is when I looked at it, I think this might have been a regular test on the Docker endpoint. But when I was
No.
looking at the Kubernetes one that Mark tested, that one made more sense to me. That was pinging the Kubernetes endpoint, and I was looking at the config image, and the image was definitely correct. The pull policy was specified to never, which is definitely correct. The image existed in the test, which is definitely correct. So there was nothing intuitive to me that would make the setup fail in the way that it did. So I don't think it's anything on etcd's side. I think it's something on Antithesis' side.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just debug the how do I workflow file. So okay, you're right. How this is possible? How I missed that? So this is from antithesis branch, and maybe there was a race or I did something incorrect. So it still hit the node.
Yeah, it still hit the Docker one. Yeah.
Okay, so you're
So
right. We still hit the Docker.
yeah, I
Just for
think yeah, even if you
just
did hit the basic Kubernetes setup, I think we still would have seen the same issue. So me and the Kubernetes person, oh, you met Serdar. Serdar and I were gonna
yes.
talk with each other about it because I posted it internally. Yeah, and we were gonna figure it out and basically say what's happening, because that it looked really weird to us. But I think after that, it looks like the setup works completely fine. Um, and yeah, the etcd underscore k8's endpoint that Mark had changed it to has the fail points that we have in the Docker setup. So
Okay. So I totally misclicked or raised and didn't notice and
it,
verified that it was triggered. So yeah, we are okay. Everything
yeah,
makes sense. Oh,
yeah.
just I wanted to point out why do we why do we have so many same name or different names for the same thing? Notebook. We are talking about endpoints, and here is notebook name. It's like okay,
Yeah, I
what is
guess.
like you would never I would never if you didn't tell me I would never figure out that notebook is an endpoint. It's something that is and then match it to
Yeah,
documentation.
that's my fault. That's my fault. I guess I shouldn't really use those terms interchangeably.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I guess we
so,
should change the from notebook name to endpoint there, not notebook name.
Uh,
But
from the
yeah,
error, from the error, it seems to be that because we put in the pool image pool policy never. I think when it looks for the image on the node, it couldn't find it. That's why it failed.
well, I think we're supposed to set the pull policy to never because
yes.
we don't want to try to pull from externally once we're at this step. We want to look locally. And the image exists locally already, which is
Yeah.
the server and the client images, they already exist locally. So I don't understand why it thinks it should try to,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
even
I don't know,
from
not if you've ever tested like a development setup on I know local kind cluster or whatever. But the trick
yeah.
that you're using is how to test an application with an image that you don't have a registry for. You just sideload the image
yeah,
into the
yeah,
node,
oh,
and you just say don't never pull it and use the local one.
yeah. I think I tried that before. Side loading into the node. Um, but we also in the configuration we also push the image to a registry, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And you do pull it down successfully, which is why I'm confused because I would expect it to work. Um,
Okay,
I
but
think
it's good that we are moving forward.
yeah. So Serdar and I are meeting immediately after this meeting. We have some time set
Awesome.
up. So not, I think next steps here are on me to figure out why this is happening.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Mm. Something like this. Just making notes so we or I don't forget what is happening and people can keep track.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds good.
okay. Yeah, and also here. Okay. Anything else? For like
Couple of
questions?
things. uh, how was the KubeCon EU session? And but before we go there, I think on the call we have somebody else as well. Not sure if the person has any topics or want to introduce themselves. Not Probably not.
No problem. I don't know.
Yeah.
For the KubeCon, I'm still waiting for recordings. There should be 2 recordings for. I think there are some recordings already from KubeCon. I just need to learn how to search on the. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, I was looking on YouTube and I think they posted like the keynotes for those
Yeah, I
recordings,
see. Yes,
but they haven't gotten to the sessions yet.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I see now too. Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. Not we'll send you the link later when it's out. I
Mhm.
think they said 2 weeks, and it's been 1.5 weeks. So
Mhm.
hopefully later in this week they'll release it on YouTube. Um, but yeah, KubeCon was a lot of fun. We wished you could have made it too.
Maybe for the North America one.
That's
Oh yeah, that's when is
That's
that?
in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I
yes,
think it
in
is. Yeah.
November. Yes, and no, it might be harder for me to get there, but we'll see.
Is that
Uh,
closer to you, not?
Yeah. At least they could, like, my new company can pay for it. So
Nice.
yeah, so we had 2 sessions, one presentation, one demo. I think, or yeah, I think Marcus crashed the presentation. I was doing the demo, and someone like also from apparently there was a lot of people, and someone even from my team, like randomly from the project or like from Google, like noticed and made photos. So yeah, I think it also got a lot of interest. Yeah,
nice.
so I think we are doing yeah, and I think on like my site and my hope is I'm trying like following up whether we could expand the antithesis testing to Kubernetes. So that's something at least for me on next thing. I'm saying that this is like ambitious thing, so I don't think we'll maybe have anything for KubeCon NA or to add for CFP for KubeCon. That would be ambitious, but before we even have a plan to propose the CFP, but that's happened before, or I tried it before. Not all. It sometimes works, but not always. But we are. But yeah, like we will be, or I will be trying to talk about or talk with people about how we can do failure injection in Kubernetes controllers, because that's at least for very in my work interest.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But usually, so I'm still new to like how all these are arranged. But do you usually spin up like a new work group for that, or?
I mean, if you have multiple people that have a big ambitious goal and want to, if you want to announce broadly and you're working contributors, yes. From my experience, those areas are hidden in dark, done by one person, a volunteer in their free time. So it's like you spinning up a work. I did spin up one work group in Kubernetes, but it's a huge overhead, and you need to make sure that it's beneficial for you to do it. I did the Kubernetes logging or migration to structured logging. The main reason for working group was to have a one point where everyone can gather and source all the work from random people from the internet. So that was helpful, even though when you had the meeting, like regular meeting for the working group, no one showed up. So I don't know even if it was worth back then. Like working group, if there was usually if there are multiple TLs or like high level people and from multiple companies that are interested. Currently, I don't think anyone outside of Google or me is interested in something like this.
Well, you have at least you have me and Marcus, I guess.
Uh,
I mean, if you want to do that, I mean, you can put my name on it too. If you want the number of people, but yeah.
and yes, I mean, sure. I'm just saying it's. I would not. I mean, if you want to, if you want something to put a name on your name on and say you're TL of working group, we can think about that. Just
Oh,
to like sometimes this happens just because to motivate your employer to sponsor this work. This is like a lot of like some part of this work is just for publicity and for getting a credit and recognition.
oh,
But like
I'm
I
not
said,
sure.
it's non-zero cost for to organize it, because you need to do reports, you need to do you need to a lot of more document. You need to write a lot of documents to motivate it, and you need to have agreement and sponsoring SIG. And the problem is this: the only SIG that would be sponsoring it, maybe API machinery, but for me it's mostly scalability, and this SIG is not very active, so there is no one that would sponsor it.
I see. I mean, I'm not interested in the publicity that much. I'm just interested in the work. Like was thinking, like if we don't have
Yes.
to do it, and then we can just do it in the etcd robustness test. That's also okay.
Yeah, so this is like my, you know, this is my thing, or related to this. How do I create a link here? FYI, this is also limited to only like SIG API machinery people, so you might not get access to it. But this is like related to why I don't think I spell it out, because this is like high level, and I think people might be scared by failure injection. But I want to do like part of the same thing would be to do a POC on failure injection, and I might get or I have someone at Google that might help me write the POC. But if you want to understand the motivation, here it is. But I know. Okay, let me cheat. If are you in etcd dev? You should be in etcd dev.
I should be, yeah.
So let me not notify 1,000 people, but yeah, share the document. So you have a comment access, but this is like API machinery / scalability, and I know presented it a year ago. Yeah, so things is not moving very fast, but forward. Okay, any other topics?
Nope, that would be all. Thank you.
Okay. We are good on that. Maybe we can now look at issues. I don't think there was any new issue. I've been moving slowly, also vibe coding this. So this is I need to review. I know not are you reviewing? You've been reviewing. Oh, and you reviewed it. I haven't even looked at it. So that's great. More work for me. Yeah, but the hope is for backtracking, which I think is the main case for antithesis, we get 20x performance improvement. Yeah, almost 20x. Yeah. So this is great. For linear.
Are you measuring the performance improvement with QPS?
I have benchmarks that try to like define some history, or like codify some history for the model to linearize, and I'm measuring the QPS is static, or like number of requests is static. It's not time based. It's just number of requests based. And there is some static value that I hard coded because I cannot like have because at some point the complexity is explosive. So the
Oh, I
benchmark should
see. I
also be
see.
pretty small, like I said it. But I can show that already on these benchmarks I get a lot of improvement. So basically, this is like fight to reduce number of timeouts by.
Yeah.
So I basically looked. I think in the issue I previously discussed this. I took one of the linearization timeouts from antithesis. I took the report for linearization. I rerun it locally, and you can easily pass to Go testing. You can pass a flag to the flag adds profiles. So this is a CPU profile, and this showed out that there is a lot of time spent on equal comparison, and this was not something that we benchmarked before or like looked at before or optimized. So I implemented a benchmark that also pushes equal, like linearization that pushes equal, and this is the test, like the backtracking case.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so the hope is it will improve a lot. I still don't think I got a linearization completed on the report, so I don't think it's. I think we are just lowered exponential by 20 times, but it's still like maybe in that like it's in the
1,000 times.
like the 1,000 times or whatever. But I think we
Yeah.
are. I mean, by moving it down, the probability of this happening. It's hard to measure because I had one case, and it's not necessarily reflecting. It's hard to. It's not. It's one thing, but it's not reflecting the average case or the most cases. I would need to have a lot of samples and collect them. But it could have even like this on this iteration. I was good enough with this improvement because by moving it down, the probability of timeout also grows a lot, like 20 times or maybe.
Yeah, and it's
distribution.
also really good for like if you have a validation of operations that takes like 2 minutes, it would jump it down to like, I don't know, 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that frees up 30 seconds to do other stuff in the test.
Yeah, yes, this reminds me about one thing. We are also very wasteful. I don't know if you ever, I think maybe I mentioned at the beginning, I think there is very wasteful thing that we do in antithesis. Maybe I should add an issue about this. Have you, so there is one thing in the model that I assume, and I don't know how to like I assume empty model, empty state, because just linearization is much easier to implement if we assume empty state at the beginning. And what happens is to make sure that I know the test matches the model expectation, I do a test. I start the test by doing one before starting the test. I do one concurrent with concurrency one a request that I wait for it succeed, and or I wait until it succeed to get the state of etcd, like get anything result, just to confirm that revision is one.
Yeah.
And this can take, and this is good enough for robustness tests where I know we inject failure at some time later, but for antithesis it sometimes takes multiple tens of seconds of this one request hitting antithesis, and antithesis like breaking all the things in the meantime before the real test happens. I don't know if you have. I think there is a how do you call it, like composer setup for doing this request. I don't know how to rewrite it, but that's
there. So you currently do all the requests in a singleton composer script, and the singleton gets run in faults. But so then I think if you wanted to do the first one or like get the first initial state of the database, you could do that first request in a first script, and the first script is run with no faults. So that should like complete a lot quicker. You like save that state to like slash whatever var slash reports, and then you start the second request from the singleton.
Mhm. Let me.
Yeah, if you
I
go,
still need to. Yeah, I still need to find. I always forget
it might be at the
because we have
bottom.
one main.
Okay.
Okay, we have one main important thing, and this one main important thing just is hidden across like 3 layers of UI. Okay, it loads, and so yeah, if I take the report and I open just to visualize the problem. So, this is this is an optimistic case.
We got lucky
this
here.
request. Yes, this is a lucky case. But I've seen cases where this request is repeated like hundreds of times. But maybe it's not. I mean, also like it's a question. Maybe it's not as bad as I think. I just like caught a lot of things. I think I can, or I will just file an issue. Antithesis, move initial or get request to a
first to a first test composer script or something.
And a question: could it be in health checks?
Yes.
Because I just don't want to roll out a separate binary. I'm lazy.
You could do it. So you have the entry point in the health check to see that the state is up. You could do before you emit setup complete. You could do that first get request, and then immediately after you write it, you emit the setup complete. You could definitely do that.
Yeah, we could do it in entry point before setup and meeting setup complete to avoid separate binary.
Yep.
And this should increase time, effective time of antithesis testing. Anything else? Let me think. How do I need to explain it? We should write it to report with single for the same client, so it can be picked up by a singleton later. I don't think it's easy to implement, so I don't know. Maybe the only people that I hope that are able to implement something like this is Nont. So I will, if you need more context, I can provide it. But yeah, what do you mean? I think robustness. Yeah, robustness. Yeah, I will just create it. Just move initial step. I can find the example. Okay. So this should be something that is just low priority, but could have a big. I mean, it could have a big impact on how many faults we find or what is effective. It's just hard to count. I don't know if you could even measure when the requests start on antithesis, so you can have a distribution of how long this step takes because it's on etcd side. But yeah. Or I think I have an idea how to count it, but will not go to it. Okay, so we are good. I will just add to tracking. I will not make it, if someone wants to pick it up, feel free to do so, but I will not make it good needs help issue because I don't want random people from internet using AI to implement it. it makes things go slower than take more time than make progress. Okay. Last 10 minutes and two things. I don't know if there is on antithesis side a question to Marcus. Is there, after we found the holy grail of the of issues, are there any other fail point configuration that we could change that could make a difference? Is it worth to that's one? Is it worth to wait just for Kubernetes, for us to migrate to Kubernetes? And the reason why I want to migrate to Kubernetes, upgrade testing. I want to upgrade downgrade testing, and I will not implement it in antithesis without operator. So a lot of things, a lot of next steps is blocked on Kubernetes. So I'm just asking, is there anything in the between that is worth to do, or we can just also wait, prioritize Kubernetes migration and wait for that?
So the one that comes to my mind are disk-related faults. I know we talked about them a little bit at KubeCon Mark, but I think we might try. So they're not really too ready yet for, I guess, yeah, I guess the disk faults that we support aren't really too ready. I think if we were to want to enable another fail point, that would be the best next one, though I don't think we could do it today.
What do you mean by faults? You mean the disk fault or any other fault? Or what did you mean? Or are you saying just there is nothing other than disk fault?
So other than disk faults, there's one that I think we should try. It's called CPU modulation, but basically what that is, this is going to change the perceived speed of the computer, or the perceived speed of the software that the whole etcd cluster is running on, or the whole test is running on. So sometimes the robustness tests, when it's pinging the etcd servers, it's all going to run on what it thinks is a slow computer. Sometimes it's going to run on what it thinks is a fast computer. So that CPU modulation is something we can just flip to enable. That's an easy one we can do.
Going back from just new types of fail points.
Okay.
What's the should we, or for last fall that or last issue we found you did the bugification by increasing some probability. Should we go back to the default setup, or is like, I don't know, stay like proportional, or I don't know I'm very opinionated how the test should look like based on, I don't know, like how to explore it. For me, it should be based on production probability of things breaking in production. So basically, you don't try to chase cosmic rays if you're not if you haven't solved, I don't know, disk issues.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, like, what is the current configuration? Are we in the still increased CPU pausing or process pausing, and we should disable?
That's a good question. So we currently are in the increased in the increased container pausing. Like previously, like way back when, we used to only pause like roughly once every, I don't know, 40 seconds or something. But I think now we're pausing like a lot more often. So maybe a container is paused once every like 7 or 8 seconds. It only lasts for a couple seconds. I think so. There's like two kind of trade-offs. Like one, it's like we increase the frequency of the faults that happen like all the time. But if we do that, then we run into the issues where like the linearization validation might take a long time, just because there's a lot of, like, I guess, failed operations or unknown operations. So there might be a middle ground we can revert it back to. So instead
I
of
would. Can I shift the problem?
okay,
So you're right in there. Depending on the fail points, can be more or less destructive,
yep,
and you cannot be in one. You don't want to be in either like edge of like nothing work. Like you etcd cannot accept any request because it's constantly like disrupted, versus
yep,
you also don't want to test trivial cases because it's trivial and I know you will not find anything new.
yep,
But the question is, the measure that we are discussing is availability. Can we measure availability in antithesis and set a target of failure injection to have target of during I would say how we measure availability. Let's say we measure how many requests are sent to etcd and how many of them succeeded, and we say availability is when there was like you can measure it by count of events or by event count, or you can measure it by time. So we could say we target 90 or 50% of requests passing and then rest of them failing, so we don't increase the or you measure by time. I know don't want to go into that deeper, but basically we can make the exploration machine aware of the fact that if it should have, same like you have rate limiting, it should like it can do some burst at the beginning, but at some point it should balance to some target of fault injection. So it's not that we don't want to also have situation that you like break etcd totally at the beginning and the rest of test nothing happens because you exhausted all the budget. Like you have budget, you want to spread the faults over time, but you want to intensify them, but in a way that is measurable. So there is still like some non-trivial percentage of requests that pass. And the argument you also gave was very good, that we cannot like increased failed requests will cause the increased failed requests is causing the I'm losing the is causing linear's ability to go into exponential time, which is not good because that's at the end we are bounded by like we cannot like search infinitely for a bug or confirmation of success.
yeah. I'm just writing that down. Yeah. I don't think I have a good answer for that just now.
Yeah, I
So
assume you have like static configuration and you'd like have some period of injection or like decision making. I'm just asking, would it be useful to have a feedback loop that the system,
yeah,
that like every system, dynamic system has properties like this is from how do you call it, like the control theory. Every system has some response, unary response to like if you increase thing, how much it times it to balance. So every time you inject a failure, like it triggers your election, and it takes some time for etcd cluster to reestablish the new leader. And it's useful to use the time when it's unstable, but you cannot push it into full fault. So there is some, how do you call it, like weight to the system, and this can depend on application. So it's a question: is the current static configuration antithesis good enough? How we can know if this is the good one? Uh, if there any way to measure, and maybe we don't need the automatic feedback loop, but we need to understand where we are, like and whether we should go down or up with if we are good at the place we are, or we should change it.
okay. Yeah, yeah, I think I need to ask around for that and try to think of some things. Because I know that there's someone trying to come into this meeting room right now. But yeah, let me get back to you guys on that. I think those are really good questions, and I think, yeah, I think having an answer to that would be super valuable for the tests.
Okay, so I think we can agree we can revert the container parsing because I don't think we found anything, and we proved that the old issue with container parsing is resolved,
Yeah.
and we didn't find anything new. So I think it's good to revert and go to defaults. I don't know if you have like global defaults, but yeah, that's sounds good to be on defaults at least.
Yeah, I do have to jump, unfortunately,
Yes.
but yeah, I'll get back to you on that, as well as the Kubernetes thing for Nat and Mark as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, excited for CPU modulation. Okay, see ya. See ya now.
Thanks, Mark. Bye-bye.